There truly is nothing like playoff hockey, and we just witnessed an incredible first round of NHL action. Next on Keeping Score, me and my panel break down the second round matchups. Here we go. Time to make some NHL picks. For those of you who did not watch our pilot episode, I'm Theodore Fernandez, known as T-Money, and we have a 5-person crew tonight, but I like everyone we got here. So let's start on my right, and let's go to the K-Man. Caden, how we doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I mean, obviously, I'm really happy that the Kraken were able to pull through and win. Disappointed at the Rangers, but you know.
Yeah, so that's kind of how we're going to open this show up, because we got 1, 2, 3 Rangers fans, and then sprinkled in the middle are 2 Devils supporters. And let's talk about that series. Before we do anything else, let's just talk Rangers-Devils. Drew, kicker idiot, your team won. How's it feel?
It was a great series, great for the sport of hockey and for everyone watching. Devils came back from 2-0, went up 3-2, and then Rangers battled back, won a good game at the Garden, Game 6 there, and then the Devils came back and shut them out in Game 7. So, it was good to see. Devils fans were excited. Now they're facing a tough Carolina team, so be excited to see what they can do.
Yeah, Joe, I mean, that was rough. I mean, taking the 2-0 series lead, very reminiscent of last year against Tampa. It was rough.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
I'm with you on this. We'll let Ro say something.
Yeah, that was a great series on the Devils' part. We saw Vitek Vanacek start the series off. It was a little bit of a rough patch. We lost the first 2 games. But then we saw Akira Schmid really shine facing off against the Rangers. I'm pretty sure he had 2 shutouts in that series, which is great because he was usually seen as more of a backup goalie to Vitek. And he even played some AHL games when Mackenzie Blackwood wasn't injured. So it was great to see him really shine and have that role.
Yeah, look, all the pressure on the Rangers round 1, and we just completely fell apart, and it was embarrassing to watch, honestly, to see us lose 4 out of 5 to close the series. That was horrible, but that was only one of 8 series, where there were 7 others that we picked, and let's give you all a reminder on who we actually took in those 8 series. You'll see all the stuff that we broke down, so Caden, you had a lot of correct picks, and we'll be able to see them in a second. But you got 6 out of the 8 series correct. Well, how do you think you did so well?
Yeah,
What way did that come together?
I'm very happy with my first round performance. I definitely picked a lot right. I mean, some of them were kind of lopsided, like the night series. Like that was kind of an obvious one to me. But I'm happy overall with how my picks turned out.
Yeah, you also see Drew got a lot of those series right, only missing 2 as well. And then Rowan, you were decent, 5 out of 8.
I was hoping I could do better, but I'm not complaining, honestly. I'm right in the middle. Not best, not the worst.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Respectable. And me and Joe were on the lower side of things, which we'll get to in a minute. And we're going to give you our standings now. And before we give you standings, let's just give you a reminder. Every correct series winner was worth 1 point. And then if you picked the series winner correctly and also got the amount of games, you got an additional point. So here's our standings. K-Man leading us off, 10 points, very impressive. Drew at 9. Ro, you've got 6, JP 5, and then I don't even know what to say. I have no defense. I have 3 points, and it was bad. I mean, I only got 2 out of the 8 series, right? Thankfully, the Oilers won in 6, so I picked up an extra point there, but T-Money, as I'm known, for how good my picks are, I don't know what to say. I wish it was football season still, because then I'd be chilling. But 3 points is something that I will definitely look to improve going forward. But let's go to Drew. You've got 9. You're right behind Caden. What do you think you need to do to jump in front?
I think I was more kind of worried about getting the extra point with the series win, so maybe more just focusing on maybe breaking down the matchups more player-based and just how they did last series and picking more of the team, which I thought I did for the second round, so we'll see what happens with the second round. But overall, I thought I did good first round. Got a couple games right with the correct amount of series wins. Hoping the Avalanche would win. That's what everyone thought would happen, but Kraken came off and had a great series there. So we'll see what happens in the second round.
Yeah. So you brought up an interesting point there with reacting, seeing what's happened so far, and kind of moving off that. And that's something that we're going to bring up in our first series, because right now we're going to start to make our second round picks. And obviously the second round has started. These picks were all finalized before then. And 3 of us picked the Kraken. Now look, the Kraken are a fun team. Are they really better than the Stars? Caden, you're wearing the Kraken jersey, so I'll let you address this one. What do you think there?
Yeah, obviously nobody believed in the Kraken in the first round. Before the matchup got switched, a lot more people had the Kraken, but once they found out that we were going to be facing the Stars, a lot of people hopped onto the Stars. But as a fan of them, I just really believed in them. And we had some dirty hits,
Yeah.
Makar taking out McCann, which is disappointing, but you can't complain about his replacement. Ty has scored 2 goals already in the playoffs, 1 in the first round and 1 just last night. So as an AHL player, it's really good to see him come up and do so well, especially in the playoffs.
Now, this was supposed to be, we recorded our first show a couple days before the start of the playoffs. So this is a matchup that we actually broke down because we thought Stars-Kraken would be what they played. And I think it was pretty evenly matched like it was now. But, Joe, me and you were the only one who picked the Stars, and I'll let you do the justification on why. Because I see a lot of good things in the South team, so I'll let you break that down.
Yeah, well, I mean, really the reason why I picked the Stars is kind of the same reasons why I picked them last series. Again, Robertson, Heiskanen really popped off. Ottinger just being his regular self, just really making great saves. And, I mean, the Kraken, I know they won their first series. I know it's just a big, really energizer for them. But still, to now go on to the second round, it's just unlikely. And how good the Stars are, it's going to be very evenly matched, but I just don't think that they have the juice for it.
Yeah, this is a series that me and you both have going 7. I think no one has it going less than 6. So this should be a fun one to watch, but I'd be lying if I said that was the series I'm most excited for out West, because this Knights-Oilers series, I think, is going to be an absolute classic. Let's take a look at who we picked in this one. I took Vegas in 7, Drew Oilers in 7, K-Man Oilers in 6, and then Roe and JP, you guys also picked the Oilers, meaning that I'm the only one who picked Vegas, and quite frankly, I'm not disappointed you guys, but no belief whatsoever in the Knights. I'm very, very surprised by that one. So, Drew, will you be the Oiler defender here, which it's pretty simple on defending them, but why are you so confident they'll win?
Yeah, I honestly just think this is McDavid's year. I mean, he's been in the playoffs so many times, and the Oilers can never get it done. But I honestly truly believe that this could be McDavid's year. He's going to win the Hart. He put up 160 points. But, I mean, just the way, if you watch the power play between him and Draisaitl, I remember I saw Biznat on one podcast, this guy who's TNT analysis. He's like, McDavid and Draisaitl are the best duo since Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. And to be honest, he might be right to an extent, to a hockey sort. But, I mean, just the way that those two live off, they live and breed off each other. And the Oilers just look hot right now, but Vegas is another hot team.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that, with the home ice advantage for them too. So we'll see what happens, but I do think the Oilers will get this done, but I do think it's going to go to 7 games.
Yeah, look, coming into the season, Vegas was my Stanley Cup champion, and I think, might stand by that. I really, really like what this Knights team's done. They were excellent in Game 1, and I am feeling very good about my pick. We're 1 game in, and look, obviously we're going to talk about how the series have unfolded so far, and this next series that we go to.
Actually, if I might, with the Oilers, I really think that they could go really far, maybe even win it all. Because if you ask me, at least, I believe that the Oilers they have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and I think they're the 2 best players in the league, if I may.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
I would say that. You see Connor McDavid, I think he's undoubtedly up there, at least. And then Leon Draisaitl. Leon Draisaitl had over 100 points finishing this season, and for the beginning of last series, he was on the ice for most of the Oilers' goals, and that's just showing how much he really impacts that team.
2 best players in the league. Caden, is Rowan being delusional right now, or does he have a point?
I don't know. With Leon Draisaitl scoring 4 points last game, it's kind of hard to argue that he's not up there. two best. I think McDavid is definitely up there, undoubtedly.
He's number one. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't
Oh,
even
yeah.
argue.
There's no question he's not.
Yeah,
number one.
there's no question. But there are definitely, I could see how he sees that.
Well, in any case, the two best players in the league are going to lose to the Vegas Golden Knights. And Jack
bold
Eichel
take, bold
will take his squad to the conference finals. And look, I mean, out west, I think we got two very good series. And now we head to the east, where this was hands down the biggest surprise of the first round. The Florida Panthers upset the 135-point Boston Bruins. Just absolutely incredible. That Game 7 was one of the greatest things I've watched on the ice, and I'm going to continue to ride this Panther wave. Give me Florida in 7, but the rest of you guys are overwhelmingly against what I said, taking leaves, all four of you. JP, we haven't heard from you in a minute. Break down why you think Toronto can make the conference finals.
Yeah, well, I picked that before I saw what's happening right now. Now it's 2-0. But I mean, Devils did it. Why can't they do it? But I mean, that's just with the Marner and the Matthews era. It's just super like. I just don't think the Panthers really can have the really skill and the energy to get really past them. But they do have a huge shot, a huge upset against the Bruins, and that they probably believe that they could do anything right now. So now I'm a little bit in between, but I am going to stick with the Leafs because I do think that they can push back.
Yeah, look, I mean, I believe that momentum is one of, if not the single most important thing in sports. Like, you just see teams get hot, and if you get hot at the right time, you really can do anything. Toronto is a team that I thought would lose in the first round. I'm shocked that they won a series, but yeah, they'll be eliminated. It might be another 17 years before they get back to the second round again, because this franchise is still cursed. It was a fluke against Tampa, and we will see the Florida Panthers in the Eastern Conference Finals. You guys got anything you want to say about this series?
I do think the Leafs definitely have to play better in Game 3. I mean, they're going back to Florida, which is going to be interesting to see how they can handle that. And I know Florida's trying to finagle their way into not allowing fans from Toronto to travel to come to the game. So let's see how that affects them. But, I mean, just the way Florida's been playing this season, I mean, Matthew Tkachuk's probably been, in my opinion, probably been the player of the postseason so far.
yeah.
Even not points-wise. I don't know what total his points are at, but, I mean, just overall,
The
just the
impact
way.
is clear,
Just
the impact he has
the
on
impact
the
he
game.
has. I mean, that trade with the Flames goes probably just what the Panthers got for him.
Yeah.
I mean, they gave up a good amount, but, I mean, he's been playing lights out for them. So it's been great to see.
I feel like I never remember that this Panthers team did win the President's Trophy last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's...
And they lost first round.
Yeah, they lost
The
first
curse,
round.
the curse of the
continues.
President's Trophy.
Yeah.
With this Panthers team, they had the second biggest upset of NHL history, if I'm not mistaken. And they are a really good team, but they're both, Toronto and Panthers, are both beating the odds this year. But I feel like if you look at the team just like with just skill-wise, I feel like Toronto has a little more of that edge.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So I just think that Toronto can beat Panthers. They can end that little wave.
Look, at the end of the day, Florida's not an incredible hockey market. I'm sure Toronto will have a lot of fans at games 3 or 4, no matter what ownership tries to do to stop them. So by no means is Florida a lock to win. But if they can go out and win Game 3, I believe tonight, the day of our recording, they will be in a very, very good spot, because I don't see a 3-0 series lead being blown in this year's NHL playoffs. Speaking of 3, we're 3 series down, and we have 1 to go, and 2 of us are going to be very happy about this one. 3 of us, not so much. Devils taking on the Canes, and I don't think there's much justification in our picks. Me, Caden, and JP just want to see this Devil run out. And obviously the Devil fans picked their squad to advance. So we're going to start with a negative. We're going to start with you, Caden, and you're going to tell us why, besides from the biased Rangers perspective, why the Canes are going to win this series.
The Canes are a nasty, nasty team to play in the playoffs. They're really hard to go up against. And, you know, I just don't think the Devils can get it done. I mean, the Rangers had a tough series against them last year, right? And I don't think that the Devils have, like, their speed is countered so hard by their defense that I don't think they have what it takes.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of those sentiments. I can't really count out Jersey anymore, and that's kind of why I have this series going 7. I've also the series going 7, by the way. I figured, I think we have a lot of competitive matchups here, but I do think that the Hurricanes have the edge. And Rowan, back up your squad now.
Yeah, with the Devils, they were beating the odds with the Rangers. I think most people had the Rangers winning last series, but they beat the odds. They don't have much experience, and we see this Hurricane team. They're definitely very good. Might even be better than the Devils, but I just feel like I don't know, something about them. They just really have that just umph to keep going.
No, I agree, and you saw that many times throughout the series, but there is always a way to beat teams like that. So, JP, you tell me, having watched, I'm assuming, all 7 games of the Rangers-Devils series, you might have missed 1 or 2, but what do the Canes need to do strategically to end this Jersey run?
Now, the Canes, I feel like they just need to keep playing how they're playing. Right? They took the Islanders in, 6?
I believe 6, yeah.
6. They took the Islanders in 6. I don't think it's going to be much harder to beat the Devils. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying that the Hurricanes are that much better. They lost some pieces, but they also gained some pieces. They lost Vinny Trocheck to the Rangers. They lost Niederreiter to, I forgot where he went. But they added Jesse Puljujarvi from the Oilers. He's been absolutely electric. And I think Nick Bukes. No, that was the Oilers. They added somebody from the Coyotes. He's also been really great in the playoffs. But I think that them versus the Devils, I think it's just a series where the Canes are just going to be the obvious winners.
Well, first time the Arizona Coyotes have ever been brought up in the show. I did not think we were talking about them on a playoff show. And sadly for Coyotes fans, we are done talking about them, and I'm sure we won't bring them up again. Drew, we'll let you be the last word on this Canes-Devils series. Besides from, the obvious fandom, what can your squad do to win?
To be honest, I just think they gotta. They're struggling definitely with the Hurricanes' speed. I mean, they definitely had a huge advantage against the Rangers with speed, and everyone knew that going into it. But I mean, they brought up a great point in the broadcast, and Kaden brought this up before. The Hurricanes have the number 1 defense against the rush, and the Devils have the number 1 offense with the rush. Mm-hmm. So I mean, that just counteracts both of that. But I mean, I think the Devils are in for their money with the Hurricanes here, and I think it's going to be tough. But I mean, Schmidt's going to have to have another really big game for them tonight. I mean, last time he got pulled, he went on and had a 33-save shutout against the Rangers. So we'll see what happens. But I mean, these Devils players have to get going. Brad has to get going. Nico has to get going. Timo Meier has to get going when he comes back, if he comes back. Dougie's got to get going. I mean, Hughes can't just carry the workload. I mean, and then all these fourth-line guys, Bastian, McLeod, Miles Wood had another good game, Lazar. But it's going to be interesting to see how this shapes out. But I mean, I just want to highlight John Marino, in my opinion, has probably been the best defenseman in the NHL playoffs so far. And I mean, he might not have the points, but I mean, he was brought up almost every single period against the Rangers, and he had a great series. So he's been another great player for them. But it's going to be interesting to see how they can respond. And if they go down 2-0, who knows what happens? They were down 2-0 against the Rangers. They came back and won. So, but I definitely do think this series will go to 7, but we'll see how it shakes up.
Yeah, I can't argue with much of what you said. Let me close out the coverage of our Devils-Canes series with one statement, one thing that still needs to be said. I don't care what I just watched. Jack Hughes is still overrated.
Oh, yeah.
He's not that good.
Speaking for all of us.
Yeah.
Thank you, dude.
Yeah, I feel like that had to be said, and I feel like that's one thing we can all get behind.
I will say this, no matter what happens in this series, the Devils have a really good team. As much as I hate to say it, I think they have a cup coming in the next couple of years if they can keep these young guys.
Only respectable Rangers fan I probably.
And the only one you will.
I'm not saying the Devils are bad.
Every single interview I've watched
No,
of
I
the
said the
Rangers
Canes
Devils,
are
he's
just
probably
better.
the only one who's ever said that.
Yeah, and I will not back him up on that. But look, in a way, I think we are in a great place for New York City area hockey. Even the Islanders look like they have some kind of future going. I think Rangers and Devils are a little brighter, but it's a good time to be a New York sports fan in general, as we talked about last show. And
Knicks,
yeah.
Yeah.
Jets are
Knicks
making a
Heat series has been
comeback.
so good. Aaron Rodgers,
Yeah.
fall off.
We'll just try not to jinx it.
We'll ignore the Jets. Giants, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that will do it for our second round coverage of the NHL. We hope you've had a fun time watching the show. We certainly had a fun time breaking down the picks, and we'll be back in a couple weeks, probably about 2 weeks from now, whenever the conference final matchups are set. We'll break down final 2 teams remaining, and Vegas will be one day. Mark my words. We'll see if I can make a comeback in the standings. I hope I can. And if not, it might just be Drew and Caden running away with it. So stay tuned, keep track of our picks, and keep watching hockey.